So the killer of Mike Brown, Darren Wilson, has finally broken his silence. Let's listen to this fork-tongued devil.
I'd gone to open the door and get out of the car. And when I did so, as I was opening the door, I said, "Hey, come here for a minute." And that's when he turned and said, "What the are you going to do about it?" and slammed my door shut on me.
Hold it right there, devil. You expect us to believe that you asked that young man to come here and he slammed the door on you and said, "What the F are you going to do about it?" You's a lying mother lover.
I used my door to try and push him back and yell at him to get back. And again, he just pushed the door shut and just stares at me. And as I look back at him, all of a sudden, punches start flying.
He threw the first punch?
Yes. He threw the first one and hit me in the left side of my face.
Because, you know, some of the witnesses have said that they saw you trying to pull him into the car.
That would be against every training ever taught to any law enforcement officer. I don't know what or how many hit me after that. I just know there was a barrage of swinging and grabbing and pulling for about 10 seconds.
And then what?
I had reached out my window of my right hand to grab onto his forearm because I was going to try and move him back and get out of the car to where I'm no longer trapped. And when I felt it, I just felt the immense power that he had. I mean, the way I've described it is it was like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. That's just how big this man was.
Hulk Hogan?
He was very large.
Oh, you's a bitch, Darren. You just compared Mike Brown to Hulk Hogan and yourself to a 5-year-old? You's a cold bitch and a lying devil. You mean to tell me Hulk Hogan punched you flush in the face and couldn't even black your eye? All you had was some rosy red cheeks in the photos. You's a fork-tongued devil.
You're a pretty big guy.
Yeah, I'm above average.
So you try to grab him, but you feel that force.
Yes. And then as I'm holding him, I see him coming back around with his left hand. And it's in the shape like this, and it comes in through the window and just a solid punch to the right side of my face.
So you're still sitting there figuring out, how do I get out of this?
Yes. I mean, the next thing was, how do I survive? Because I didn't know
How
if
do
I
you survive?
Yes, I didn't know if I'd be able to withstand another hit like that.
Where's your gun at that point?
I keep it on my right hip.
Mm-hmm.
I take it out and I come up, I point it at him. And when I said, "Get back or I'm going to shoot you." And then his response, immediately, he grabbed the top of my gun. And when he grabbed it, he said, "You're too much of a to shoot me." And while he's doing that, I can feel his hand trying to come over my hand and get inside the trigger guard and try and shoot me with my own gun.
Really, devil? Really? You pulled the strap out and he dared you to shoot him. That's what happened. You's a devil.
And that's when I pulled the trigger for the first time.
What happened?
It didn't go off. The gun was actually being jammed by his hand on top of the firearm. So I tried again, and again another click. And this time I'm like, this has to work, otherwise I'm going to be dead. He's going to get this gun away from me. Something's going to happen, and I'm going to be dead. So I pull a third time, and it finally goes off.
That was the first time you'd ever used your gun, right?
Yes, it was.
In all your years as a police officer?
Yes.
And then what happens?
He gets even angrier. His aggression, his face, the intensity just increases. And he comes back in at me again. I was looking at him, I was just like, racket, expecting another hit, and I put my gun up and fired. Then I go to exit my car. And when I'm getting out, I use my walkie and I say, "Shots fired, send more cars." And I start chasing after Michael Brown.
Why not stay in the car? He's running away.
Because he's not, my job isn't to just sit and wait. You know, I have to see where this guy goes.
So you felt it was your duty to give chase?
Yes, it was. That's what we were trained to do.
So this black child with Hulk Hogan-like strength almost kills you. He's retreating, and instead of waiting for backup, you pursue this Hulk Hogan strength child and finish the job. You's a yogurt-faced devil.
And he runs out of the car, gets about 30 or 40 feet. You can now get out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You start to follow him. And then he stops?
He does stop.
Why?
When he stopped, he turned and faced me. And as he does that, his right hand immediately goes into his waistband. And his left hand is a fist at his side. And he starts charging me.
What did you think when you saw that?
I didn't know. I mean, my initial thought was, is there a weapon in there?
Even though he hadn't pulled something out earlier when he was confronting you.
Yeah, it was.
If he got a gun, then why would he reach for yours earlier, nigga? You's a devil.
We're taught to let me see your hands.
As you know, some of the eyewitnesses have said when at that moment when he turned around and put his hands up.
That would be incorrect.
No way?
No way.
So you say he starts to run, does a stutter step, starts to come towards you, and?
At that time, I gave myself another mental check. Can I shoot this guy? Legally, can I? And the question I answered myself was, I have to. If I don't, he will kill me if he gets to me.
Even though he's, 35, 40 feet away?
Once he's coming that direction, if he hasn't stopped yet, when's he gonna stop? After he's coming at me and I decide to shoot, I fired a series of shots and paused.
What did you see?
I noticed at least one of them hit him. I don't know where, but I saw his body kind of just flinch a little. And after that, I paused and I again yelled, stop, get on the ground, giving him the opportunity to stop. And he ignored all the commands and he just kept running.
You shoot that young man and he keeps charging you, nigga? Really? I guess Mike Brown was really a grizzly bear, you lying motherfucker.
And so after he kept running again, I shot another series of shots. And at least one of those hit him because I saw the flinch. Well, this time he's about 15 feet away. So I start backpedaling because he's just getting too close and he's still not stopping. He gets to about 8 to 10 feet. And as he does that, he kind of starts to lean forward like he's going to tackle me. And I looked down my barrel of my gun and I fired, and what I saw was his head, and that's where it went.
Right in the top of his head?
Yes.
You'd never even shot your gun before, and now a man is dead.
After the supervisor got there, I gave him the brief rundown of what had happened.
What'd you tell him?
I told him that I had to shoot somebody. And he asked me why. I said, well, he had grabbed my gun and he had charged me and he was going to kill me.
So you killed him first?
Yes.
Is there anything you could have done differently that would have prevented that killing from taking place?
No.
Nothing?
No.
And you're absolutely convinced, when you look through your heart and your mind, that if Michael Brown were white, this would have gone down in exactly the same way?
Yes.
No question?
No question.
That lie was written all over your face, devil. And we peeped it. I ain't even gonna lie, that nigga had some good coaching. So where do we go from here, black people? Tune in next week to the Rollo Boykin Show. We will be discussing how to survive America. Because these devils are on the loose.